welcome to the start of a brand new weekly reading vlog. This is gonna be a super casual week in my life. It's Monday. Basically, all I wanna do this week is catch up on some YouTube, Patreon stuff, be super productive, and read a ton of books, which is always a good idea in my book. We're upstairs in my office because I think what I'm gonna do is actually go ahead and do some brainstorming, kind of try to figure out what I need to do on which days of the week, and then I guess sort of go from there. I have quite a few things to do. In my Patreon right now, I asked everyone to submit very specific book request ideas that they want, and then every single week I'm gonna basically be sticking my hand in a jar, pulling out several requests, and then giving personalized book recommendations of like new releases, backlist titles, things that I love, things that I want to read, things like that. So I have to go ahead and print those off today and then film a bunch of those videos hopefully this week, or at least one video this week. I'm also going to be filming a podcast episode for my Patreon. I have to plan a couple of readathons because we have like 7 readathons that I have kind of like designed, but I have to really get like the nitty-gritty details and stuff for some of them. So I'm gonna be working on that this week as well. And then of course, I have lots of things to edit and do for YouTube. So it's gonna be a really fun, nice little cozy, productive week, and I'm really excited. However, I just got closer. I have been in such a reading mood. And I know you're thinking like, Lexi, what else is new? But honestly, sometimes I go through stages where I'm in like a reading slump and I just am kind of reading to kind of get through the reading slump. Right now, it's the opposite of reading slump. Basically, I want to read every single book in sight. And it's very hard for me to pick which book I want to read because of that, which is a good problem to have. Behind me, we have my TBR bookshelves. I love these bookshelves. They have lots and lots of books on them that I really want to get to immediately. And so I thought that I would pick out maybe like a little bit of a mood TBR list, or maybe a book, at least one book that I really want to start with. And I want to talk to you about some of the books that I'm really excited to read too, even if I don't get to them this week. Let's start with the nonfiction book that I really want to read, and that is The Art Thief. Okay, so this is not my TBR yet. I'm just talking about books that I really want to read, and then from there, I will pick 1 or 2 books out. This is one of the books that I'm desperate to read, and so many of you guys have been asking me to read this and review it because it sounds interesting, but you're not totally sure, and that's how I feel about it. It sounds so good. It's called The Art Thief. It's a nonfiction book about this person who literally stole pieces of priceless art in museums in broad daylight in front of everybody, got away with it, had over 200 pieces, and all they wanted to do was just stare at it. They stole art because they love art, not to like make a profit, and I think that is so interesting. I don't know, so I really want to read this. It looks really good, and it's gotten such great reviews. Okay, so here we have the TBR shelves. Up here, these are all Greek mythology, but like from here on, these are all short story collections. And I do think I want to pick a short story collection for the week. This one, Send Nudes. This is supposed to be a short story collection basically on girlhood, which I think is really interesting. And also the cover is so funny. I've heard that this one is also really good. This again is just a short story collection. This has really great reviews, I think, on Goodreads. And then this short story collection here, these are all like more whimsical, fantastic type stories. And I love those vibes. So these are like the 3 that I'm kind of leaning towards as far as short stories. There's like quite a few short story collections that I'm really interested in. Wednesday's Child, more Raymond Carver, and I just ordered one as well that's getting here on Thursday, but I think these are the 3 that I'm really leaning towards. This week, I also really want to focus on poetry. I would like to read at least 2 poetry collections. And I think the 2 that I really want to get to are actually the 2 on top. This is called Crush, and this one is called Unexhausted Time by Emily Berry. And I think I really want to make these a priority. And then you guys get so hard because I'm going to be honest with you. There are so many books here that I really am just like desperate to read. This one was Riley Marie's, I think, favorite book of last year, or one of her favorites. It's called Bloom. It is a horror book, and the way she described it, it sounds so good. Also, it's like relatively short, so I think I can get through that in a week. I always am in the mood for thrillers. So we've got The Fury and we've got The Heiress. Both I think would be so good for the week. This one just came out. It's called Fruit of the Dead. It is a Persephone and Hades retelling, but it's not focused on Hades and Persephone. It's actually focused on her mother, Demeter, I think. So Demeter and Persephone and how she tries to save her daughter. And it's a modern retelling, and I love Greek mythology, and that just sounds so good. The Book of Goose also would be so good for the week. This is like a friendship story. I have been craving trying to read a Big Swiss for such a long time. And then up here, I'm just gonna point out all of the ones that I really am like itching to try, because there's a lot up here. I really wanna read Greta and Valden. I really wanna read After Sappho. I really want to read Mrs. S. I really want to read They're Going to Love You, Swimming in the Dark, Dog Days of Summer, Tin Man, Bridge, literally all of these. And then also My Policeman, I'm very intrigued by as well. Another one that I really want to read is this nonfiction by Joan Didion. It's called The White Album. I have never read Joan Didion. I've been wanting to for such a long time. This is just a collection of essays, but I've heard that her writing is spectacular. And so yeah, when I say I literally want to read everything, that's what I mean. There are way too many books and I have no idea how to decide because they all sound so good to me. Okay, I have officially made my mood TBR for the week. There's no way that I will be able to read this many books in 5 days, but I do have 8 books and I put them in a color palette. I don't know why. I just thought that'd be really fun. So here we have like the black and white color palette, and then here we have, it's like a pink color palette, which I think is so cute. So here are all of the books that are going to be like my mood TBR. The first one that I've definitely decided is going to be a mood TBR is Crush. Crush is a poetry collection, and I really don't know anything about it other than it comes highly recommended by so many people who are poetry enthusiasts. Big Swiss by Jen Began, I think. This book is about a woman who professionally transcribes the sessions that are happening for a sex therapist, and she becomes extremely intrigued with one of his clients. Then I did pick up Bloom, which is a sapphic horror, highly recommended by Riley Marie. And then I have The Art Thief, which is a nonfiction book about someone who stole a bunch of art. So that is the first pile of books that I will be kind of like reaching for. The second pile, my pink pile. The first one, Dog Days of Summer. This is a translated work and it's all about female friendship and best friends. I think when you're like 13, 12 or 13, I think. I did decide to go with this one. On the back, it says love and loneliness, connection and possession, friendship, motherhood, and the idea of home. In bliss montage, Ling Ma brings us 8 wildly different tales that take on our everyday fears and fantasies. So I think that'll be really interesting. I love the cover. This is so random, but I actually love oranges. I kind of want an orange tattoo. Then I have another poetry collection. This one is from Emily Berry and it is called Unexhausted Time. And then finally I have this one, Greta and Valden. This is about 2 siblings. The reason I picked this up is because it is a literary fiction that's supposed to be really funny. It's gotten several starred reviews and it says here, say hello to your new favorite fictional family. And honestly, I just adore books that focus on family dynamics, specifically on sibling relationships. And I really love it when those are funny. Like, I love comedy in books. I think my goal for the week is just to read 3 of these, but I don't know if anybody else is like this. It just helps me romanticize my life. I love making mood TBRs for the week. Like, I just think it's so much fun. It kind of feels like I'm shopping my shelves and it makes me excited for all of my backlist titles. So these are all the books that I will be attempting to read from, or not all of them, but it's my mood TBR and I'm very excited. I think what I'm gonna do right now though is kind of do some work, try to be a little bit productive and get some Patreon stuff going. So I will catch up with you at the end of the day when I am ready to start reading. Hello friends! friends, it is officially, what time is it? 6:27, and that means it is the end of the day. I feel like I was kind of productive today, which is good. I did do one invoice. I did a bunch of planning for Patreon. I did some Patreon stuff. I did some Discord stuff. I did some editing and some video filming and some planning. So I feel pretty good. But also I think tomorrow's gonna be super, super busy. But now it is the time to read. So I put all of the books for the week right here, and I think I'm going to start reading Big Swiss tonight. I think it'll be like a really fun book to read. And then I also think I'm going to read a little bit of poetry, probably from Emily Berry. And then I think I'd like to try to read a short story every single day this week. And now I'm gonna go ahead and take all three of these downstairs and I'm going to read, and I'm very, very excited. Hello friends, I am here with an update. So it is 9, can you see that? Is that blurry? Anyways, it is 9:16 at night. I typically fall asleep every single night around 10, and so I think what I'm gonna do is like take off all my makeup and keep reading this, but maybe potentially in bed. But I wanted to give you a little update on this book, which is Big Swiss. I love it. There's quite a big mix of tragedy with dark comedy. There's some very, very deep, heavy topics that are brought up here, but the way the author is kind of interweaving these characters' stories is you get this really tragic information, and then there's like this sudden burst of comedy that like almost eases the tension or like cuts the tension quite quickly, and I'm really enjoying it. Like one thing that happens is the character Big Swiss is talking about this traumatic thing that she went through, and it's very bad. It's like very hard to listen to. It's very hard to like hear everything that happens. But then the therapist, whose name is Ohm, literally says, I think we should chant, because he's like kind of a little bit new agey, and Big Swiss is like, you want to chant right now? And he goes, yes, I think it would be very therapeutic. And Big Swiss is like, what do you want to chant? And he was like, we should chant the word har. It's H-A-R, and apparently that means like I'm thankful to God or something. I don't remember, but it means something spiritual. And so Big Swiss is like, you literally want to chant har har har. Like almost laughing, like har har. Oh my God, no. And like, it's just the timing, because as the reader, you're listening to this really, really awful, or you're reading this really, really awful trauma that has happened to this woman, and it's very sad. And like, you're thinking to yourself, I don't know how we're gonna, like what's gonna happen next, because this is really, really heavy. Like, is this the direction of the book? And then it just completely cuts the tension with this odd, dark sense of humor, and it's just kind of working in a really interesting way. And I'm really enjoying this because it's mostly a character study, and I feel like it's a character study done very, very well. So that is my update for tonight. I will catch up with you tomorrow. Hopefully we will have a super productive day tomorrow, and hopefully we will read even more books, because I am really, really enjoying this so far. I will catch up with you tomorrow. Bye! Hello friends, it is Wednesday. I did not film anything Tuesday because I was doing a lot of like boring paperwork, admin stuff for my channel and for my Patreon and stuff, but it is Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. And I'm very happy to report that I got some pretty serious reading done yesterday. I finished a whole book. I don't know if anybody else is like this, but every single time I finish a book, I just feel like so good about myself. So I'm really, really happy. And I have to say, this book was a 5-star. It was incredible. It was so good. It was messy. It was twisty. It was turny. It was dramatic. It was a little traumatic. And I loved it. I loved it with my whole heart. So Big Swiss, I think I already said like what this is about. We're following a person named Greta who transcribes sex therapist sessions. And that in itself is just so messy and entertaining and interesting. It's interesting to kind of hear some of these like really interesting and kind of funny stories and clients. She kind of becomes fascinated with one of the clients named Big Swiss, or that's who she has named the client. And then she meets Big Swiss at a dog park, and it's just, you guys, it's messy. It's It's messy, but like in the best possible way. Like I could not turn away from this book. I flew through this, okay? And I was sad when it ended. I would read 500 pages more of this story. Not every part of the story is really funny, although quite a few parts are funny. I think with a story like this, you kind of need some darker humor to break up some very tense moments, because there are quite a few things talked about in this book that are very dramatic, very sad. Please check trigger warnings because there are quite a few really, really sad things that are discussed in length that happen to some of the characters that is very heartbreaking and sad and just kind of hard to get through. So I think Jen Began did a really, really great job at interspersing humor to break up the more tense and heartbreaking moments. And it was great. It was just absolutely wonderful. If you love messy, dramatic books that you can't turn your head away from, and also very, very lively, real characters. That's another thing. Characterization in this is just maybe the best that I've ever read, or like one of the best that I've ever read. Incredible. This, you guys, huge fan, absolutely huge fan of this book. I loved it so much. Once I finished that book, I started up Greta and Valden, and this of course is by Rebecca K. Riley. This book, actually, I didn't know this. This came out 2 years ago in New Zealand, and it was very, very popular, and now it's just being released here in the United States, and I'm really enjoying it. I was kind of flying through this as well, and I'm on 155, so I'm almost halfway through. Oh my gosh, so I was busy yesterday because I did so much paperwork, and then I read like, oh my gosh, a full novel and a half. So it was a great day. It was a great day. This book is following two siblings. Greta is younger, Valden is slightly older. They're both going to school for different things, and they're both roommates, and they are siblings. They're also both queer, and it's kind of like a coming of age story for them. It says, I think on the back or something, that this is for fans of Sally Rooney and also Schitt's Creek. And I do feel like that's kind of like an accurate description. I personally don't find it as funny as I was hoping to. A lot of people say that this is just like a really, really funny, lighthearted book. And I would say that it's a really interesting read, but I don't think it's as funny. But I did just read this book, and this book was hilarious, so I'm not sure. The book is exploring topics of identity, of heritage, of their culture, of, I guess, like trying to find out who they belong with, like trying to find partners and stuff. And it's interesting. It's really fascinating. The story opens up with Greta, who has unrequited feelings for a woman who seems to have been kind of like leading her on. And so Greta kind of has to get over that and try to find somebody else. And then Valden is trying to suppress and get rid of his feelings for his ex-boyfriend, whom he hasn't seen in over a year. But so far, it's feeling like a very solid 4-star read, and I am really enjoying it a lot. That is my update for this book and this book. Now let me tell you what we're doing today. So today I actually FaceTimed with my best friend for just a little bit, and then I am also going to be FaceTiming with Gabby. I'm so excited to do that. We are planning some stuff together for our Patreons, and so I'm actually going to go to a cafe and kind of brainstorm some stuff for that meeting that I'm gonna have with Gabby pretty soon. And then while I'm there, I'm also going to be doing some editing, some planning, some Patreon stuff, you know the drill, all that stuff, maybe some planning for some videos on my channel. And then I'm going to be trying to read just a little bit. So I pulled all of these short books from my TBR. This book, I think I actually might save for later tonight. I think I wanna try reading a short story or two tonight from Bliss Montage, but I might start it today. I don't know. I'm thinking of actually starting this later tonight though. But I would like to try focusing on 2 poetry collections while I'm out, Crush and Unexhausted Time. These are both like shorter poetry collections, and I just feel like it would be really relaxing and kind of romantic in a way to read poetry out at a cafe. But also I think I might try reading just a little bit of this book. This is Bloom. I love the cover of this, but I feel like the dust, like without the dust jacket, it kind of matches more the vibes. Like, look at that. Look at, it's now a red book. This is the horror book that I was talking about earlier in the video, and I think it'll be really fun to kind of like start this. So my plan is to try to do a bunch of like editing and planning and things at the cafe, and then to spend a good hour maybe just reading maybe some of this poetry and then a little bit of this horror. Is this a novella? I don't know. I think it's a novella, a horror novella. And then afterwards, I think I actually might go to Trader Joe's because it's dreary. Where I live, it's rainy, it's dreary, it's misty, and listen, I love that for the plants, okay? Everybody needs some water, including me. I need to drink more water, so do you. But like for my mood, not loving it. I am lethargic, I am tired, I feel a little bit more down. I want the sun. So since the sun is not out, we are going to create the sun, and we're gonna do that with picking some flowers. Trader Joe's has the best flowers. I'm gonna go there, I'm gonna pick up something nice for my dinner and pick out like a nice little bouquet, come back, make myself some flowers, and just be grateful to be alive and have flowers. I think it's gonna be a really nice little afternoon. I'm super, super excited. With that though, let's go out, let's get some flowers, and let's go to a cafe. Okay, so I am officially back from being at a little cafe. It was really, really fun. I had a really yummy lunch there. Oh, it was so good. And then I got a chai to go. And while I was there, I had an oat milk hot latte. And it was perfect. While I was there, I did get some work done, and then I ended up finishing this entire poetry collection from Emily Berry, Unexhausted Time. And I'm really glad that I read it. It reads much more almost like dreams. They seem kind of like snippets of dreams. And I really enjoyed some of them very much. Some of them are kind of odd, but some of them I really, really liked. I think my very favorite probably was House. That one was really, really good. The Remains of the Day was really good too. There were some really beautiful lines and passages that I went ahead and also underlined. I like this one a lot from her very first one, which kind of stretches for quite a while. It was one of those summers that yawned wider and wider until I feared I might somehow fall out of the world. I love that image so much. There was another one that I really liked. Why then are we not healed? We do not know the way home. We relived all those days, days we couldn't remember. We're trapped between two worlds, we said. We're trapped between two seasons. How easily it gets flipped over, and we're on our backs alone forever, staring at the smashed face of the moon. So there were quite a few beautiful, beautiful things. I also thought this was really great. It says, and it's your face striking me like the time of an appointment I've missed. When I notice it after all this time, I feel a catastrophe has already occurred. So there were quite a few things that I thought were really interesting and really beautiful. She uses a lot of imagery with a bird, and it feels almost like the bird is from a dream. I think she even says that she dreamed about this bird, and the bird tends to mock her and then mocks other people. There's a lot of images of houses too. My dog is literally the cutest thing ever, and she's playing right next to me. So if you hear a bunch of shuffling, it's Jem. Yeah, I thought it was interesting. Some of the poetry and some of the structure of the poetry I didn't necessarily connect to as much as I have other poetry collections, but I think this would be a really solid poetry recommendation, and I enjoyed it, so I'm really glad I read it. But now I'm going to do a little bit of a book haul. Is it really a vlog if I'm not showing you books that I've purchased? I don't think so. And then after I went to McKay's, I came home and turns out that I had book mail. Let's start with the book mail, and then I will go ahead and show you the books that I picked up from McKay's. For the book mail, I picked up My Husband, and this is by Maud Ventura. I don't really know a lot about this. It's an adult literary fiction. It took France apparently by storm. It's translated, and it's about a woman who is obsessed with her husband, and I've also heard that it reads a little bit like a thriller. And then the other one, I want to say it's a new release, but actually maybe it's not. I don't know when it was published. Okay, it was published last year, so it's somewhat new. And it is a short story collection. Don't know anything else House, but like look at the cover, absolutely stunning. And this is getting really, really great reviews on Goodreads and things. I'm always looking for short story collections, so I really, really wanted to get this one. I'm really getting into short story collections. So these are the 2 books that I got in the mail. Ooh, they're so cute. And then these were the books that I purchased from McKay's. So every time I go to McKay's, I'm always looking for very specific books from specific authors. One is Kurt Vonnegut. I read Slaughterhouse-Five by Kurt Vonnegut when I was 20 years old, and I swear to God, it completely changed the trajectory of like my reading taste forever. I love it. It was so weird, so heartbreaking, and so like just powerful. And I really, really want to collect every book that he's ever written, but specifically in these editions. They're very expensive. Like I think brand new, yeah, it's $17 for a paperback, which I think is kind of expensive. So I'm always on the hunt for looking for these very specific editions. And today I struggled because today I found 2 and they feel brand new. The first one that I got is Galapagos by Kurt Vonnegut, and this was 13 bucks, kind of expensive, but better than 17. And it looks completely brand new, except for this part, which says CW. But I'm fine with that. I don't know who CW is, but I hope they enjoyed the book because now it's mine. Then the other one, this is actually a short story collection, I think. It's called Welcome to the Monkey House by Kurt Vonnegut. This was only $10.50, and this edition, stunning. Like no notes, everything about it completely perfect, not a single flaw. I'm excited. I can't believe I found both of these. I never find these editions, especially in like this good of condition at McKay's. I could not be more happy. The next book is a book that I've really been wanting to pick up for a while. I really, really want to read Toni Morrison, and I am very intimidated by where to start from Toni Morrison because I know some of the books, I think all of the books are actually really heavy, but some of them can be really, really hard to get through because they deal with very, very traumatic, hard things. And so I just didn't know where to start. And I wanted to start actually with this one called Sula because I've heard such great things about it. And I don't know, I could be getting this wrong, but I don't think it's as heavy in topic as some of her other ones like The Bluest Eye. And so I just decided to get it. It's brand new. You guys, look at this. Look at this. It's like stunning. The spine is in perfect condition and it was only $6.50. So I was just over the moon. I really was. I was so happy. And then the last book is actually a book I've been going back and forth about purchasing for like over a year and a half. It's called The Sleeping Car Porter by Suzette Mayer. And actually, if you go to basically any shopping vlog, a lot of the times I will pull this book because I go back and forth on if I should read it. And the cover is actually done by one of my very favorite artists, Janet Hill. I love her work so much, and the cover is actually what caught my eye. It sounds so interesting. It's just about a man who works in a train, I think, and he like helps with the luggage, and he's trying to save up to become a dentist. They call him George. He's obsessed with teeth. He's trying to save up for dentistry school, and it's just about like a trip or two that he takes and the people he meets on the train. I don't know. I think it's gonna be really good. I'm sorry that you can't see the entirety of this stunning cover, but it looks so beautiful and I'm so happy that I found it because, again, it looks like this has not been read. Completely new spine, completely new pages, no writing in it. The cover, completely pristine, aside from these stickers. So I could not be more excited or happy to have this book. I ended up not going to Trader Joe's because I have to go downtown tomorrow because one of my earrings fell out during like in the middle of the night. And I don't know about you guys, but like I have these ears. Yes, I have ears. They close up. They don't really like earrings. So I always have to have an earring in or they close. And my piercing, my third piercing, has completely closed in the middle of the night. So I have to go and get it re-pierced, which I'm like not super excited for. But I figured while we're downtown, I might go to my favorite florist shop. It's just absolutely beautiful. And every time I go there, it makes me really happy. So I decided to do that instead of pick out the flowers from Trader Joe's. And I'm really excited. But that's it. Those are all the books that I got. And now I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get ready because I'm actually gonna FaceTime Gabby in a little bit and we're gonna do some planning and prepping for something coming up in the future. And then I'm gonna hang out with my parents because guess what? Love is Blind, the finale is coming out tonight. And you guys, I'm so happy about it. So we're gonna have some dinner and we're gonna just like live in the drama, you know what I mean? I think that's it though. I will probably catch up with you after Love is Blind, but if not, I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, Bye! Good morning, my loves, and happy Thursday. Today is my perfect day. The sun is out. There's only blue skies. It's gonna be such a great day. I don't know if anyone else is like this, but as soon as the sunshine hits, my serotonin levels through the roof, absolutely through the roof. So I am in literally the best mood ever. So today we are going to be very productive when I get home. We have lots and lots of things to do for Patreon and also for YouTube. I have to edit a bunch of this vlog actually. And so it's going to be like a fun, productive afternoon. But this morning, we're going to spend the day out on the town. I woke up yesterday and one of my piercings had completely come out while I was sleeping, which I'm really surprised by actually, and it completely closed. Like it closed through the night. Devastating, absolutely devastating. So today I'm going to be taking it in and I'm gonna have my piercer like somehow fit it back in because I tried and my ear said no. But while I'm there, I might actually get another piercing. I'm not sure. I'm thinking about it. I love my piercer and I love where I go. I go to the Empress and it's just such a beautiful and like cozy place. It's so chill. It's in this gorgeous old, I don't know what style it is, but like a beautiful old kind of manor or something. It's really nice. I will see if I can take some clips. So I'm actually really excited to go down there, even though I'm not excited to get this re-pierced because the first time it hurt a lot. But we're gonna do that. And then while we're downtown, I figured we could go to a cafe, I could read for a little bit, and then also maybe go to my favorite flower place, which is, it's beautiful. It's so gorgeous. I think I showed it in a vlog, but I think that vlog, I don't remember if it was a Patreon exclusive or not. I think it might have been. So this might be the first time I'm showing it on my channel. I don't remember, but I'm really, really excited to go down there. I think it'll be really fun. Let me update you on yesterday. Watched Love is Blind, loved it. The drama of that show of this season, unmatched. My jaw was on the floor for one of the couples, no spoilers, but wow. I also had such a great FaceTime with Gabby. I am so excited about what we're planning in April together. I think it's gonna be so much fun. Did I also mention that I FaceTimed Sabine, my bestie from the Netherlands? I did that in the morning, but I thought I'd like throw that in there too. Yesterday was like a great day. So today though, these are the books that I'm going to be focusing on. Not all of these, okay? Not all of these, but I couldn't decide. I'm still reading Greta and Valden, but I decided not to take it with me today. And instead, I think I'm either going to start Dog Days of Summer or Bliss Montage. I don't know which one. And then I think I'm gonna try physically reading both of these. So with that, let's go downtown. Friends, okay, it is the end of the week and I am here to go ahead and close out the vlog. So let's do a little bit of a wrap up. So this week I ended up reading 4 of my 8 TBR books in no particular order. The first one was Emily Berry's Unexhausted Time. This is a poetry collection and the poems in here were really interesting. I feel like they felt a lot like we were glimpsing parts of the dreams of Emily Berry, which I always think is really interesting in poetry. poetry. I don't think that this is a new favorite collection, but I am really glad that I read it, and I feel like it would be a really solid recommendation for anyone looking to read some surrealist poetry. Next up, I have my most recent finished book, which was Dogs of Summer by Andrea Abreu, maybe? I don't know. This is a translated work. I think it was originally published in Spanish. The author is from Spain, and it was translated by Julia Sanchez, and this book was so unbelievably beautiful. We're following two best friends, and it's about, basically, you know what it is? It's that phrase, do I want to be her or do I want to be with her? This is all said from this very, very innocent perspective of a young girl growing up, and she loves her best friend. And as she's growing up, she's trying to figure out how she feels about her best friend. So some days she just loves her so much and she just always wants to be best friends with her. And then other days she thinks she might like her more than that. I love the narration style of this and the voice and characterization of these characters. I just felt like everything about this was stunning and beautiful, purposeful. Some of the passages genuinely felt like I was reading poetry, and everything was said kind of the way little kids speak. So it felt very like run on set and sing song. One thought kind of bleeds into the next thought. And even like the more tough topics of growing up kind of before you have to, and some of the really horrible things I think that young girls have to go through. We're told the stories and the perspective from the lens of a very childlike and innocent perspective, and it just works really, really well. And it creates this gorgeous portrait of girlhood, growing up, and of maybe loving your best friend and that blurred line of, do I love her or am I in love with her? And it's just a very, very beautiful story. I loved it very much. Check the trigger warnings for this though, because there was something that happened in it that was really heartbreaking. Actually, a couple things that happened that were heartbreaking and I was not expecting it, but beautiful, 5-star read, loved it. Next up, we have one of my favorite books. I know it's gonna be one of my favorite books of the whole year. It's Big Swiss by Jen Began. I know I've talked a lot about this book. I don't wanna bore you by talking about it again. You just have to know it's 5 stars. It's messy, it's dramatic. The perspectives and observations in it on trauma and life, who you are and what you've gone through, it's so well done. It's so beautiful. Don't read this if you want likable characters. The characters in here are so flawed. Like, there's not a single character where you're like, ah, you're a healthy person. So read this if you want more of just a really well-written, funny story about people who are trying to sort through their trauma, and they are making a lot of mistakes, and it's entertaining and beautiful and heartbreaking and messy, and I loved it. I really loved it. And then finally, the last book that I read was Greta and Valden. I'm gonna have to be really honest. I don't think that this was my book. There is nothing wrong with this book. I thought that the writing was pretty good. I thought that the themes in here were nice, but I just didn't connect to this book the way I have connected to like Sally Rooney books or Big Swiss or other books. I love sibling dynamic books. I really feel like this should have worked for me, but to be honest, I just thought it was kind of boring. And most of all, I really could not stand that the miscommunication trope was used again and again and again. Greta and Valden, they like never learned to communicate. Valden, for example, this really annoyed me. And I was talking to my patrons about this. He takes off to go for a week to, I think, South America for his job. His sister goes to pick him up from the airport, does not show up. Now, I don't know about you, but if I went to go pick up my brother and he was not on his flight, I would be freaking the f out. I love my brother. I'm very, very close to my family and my friends. And so I would immediately text him, call him, try to figure out like, are you okay? Are you good? Like, do you need anything? Like, why are you not here? Valden stays there for a month and he never once texts his sister, who is his roommate and best friend. He never texts her. He never tells her why he's staying. By the way, he's only staying because he's seeing his ex, which is awesome. Like, I love that for him. I want him to be happy. So does Greta. But you mean to tell me you couldn't take your phone and say, hey, Greta, I'm staying because I want to get some. Talk to you later. Like, you couldn't, that takes like what, 5 seconds? It doesn't make any sense to me. And then everyone's like making excuses for him throughout the book, and I'm like, there's no excuse. Like, that is such shitty behavior. For a man, you're literally ditching your sister for a man. Valden, what is your problem? Do you know what I mean? Like, it makes me so upset still thinking about it. And then with Greta, instead of telling her current girlfriend about this miscommunication thing, she just runs away and like basically throws away her phone. And then her current girlfriend has to go over to her and be like, hey, why didn't you just tell me what was going on? I'm not mad at you. I'm not breaking up with you. Why didn't you literally just text me? And I'm like, Greta, you are no better than your brother. Like, did no one teach them how to just communicate? And that's basically all the book is. It's just like miscommunication after miscommunication. I do think that there were some really good themes in here, trying to connect to your culture, trying to figure out where you stand. I think there's a lot of really interesting conversations about classism in here. I wish that we had expanded on those things. I wish we had focused more on the cultural aspect, on the indigenous aspects, on the classism aspects, instead of just like the miscommunication and like literally he ditched his sister for some random ex guy that he was in love with a year ago. Like, I want him to be happy, don't get me wrong. But you couldn't just pick up the phone, Valden. Like, it still makes me upset. It does. But those are the books that I read this week. I'm so proud of myself. I had such a fun week, you guys. I really did. I had the best time just like hanging out, shopping a little bit. I did end up getting that vase from Anthropologie, I think that I showed, and then also picking out some flowers. And honestly, it makes me so happy every single time I see this in my house. I don't know. I just love flowers, you know? I think that's it though, you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. A huge thank you to all of my Patreons over at Fox and Wood. Thank you so much for supporting me. I love you guys with my whole heart. And a big thanks to the Ink and Quill Club members who are all my executive producers of every single video. All of your names will be down below in the description. And if you've made it to this point of the video, please tell me this. When you order a pizza, what toppings do you put on the pizza? And the emoji of the day, of course, is gonna be a slice of pizza. Thank you again so much for watching. I love you guys, and I will talk to you very soon. And until next time, book lovers, keep your head in the clouds and your heart in a book, and I will see you later. Bye!